Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest in our free series of educational webinars from ScaleX Catalife, broadcasting live from Tallinn in Estonia. My name is Jim Sharman. I'll be your host for today, but joining me on screen, you can see, is our presenter, star coach, life architect, indeed, one of the hottest new talents in life coaching from India, Mr. Sanjay Shukla. Namaste, Sanjay. How are you?
Namaste, Jim. I'm wonderful. I'm excited. Thank you for having me here. And can't tell you that how much I'm looking forward to it.
I know this has been it's been a few weeks in the planning. This one, it's been great. I've seen the presentation you're about to do. It's very exciting, and I also attended one of your previous webinars, which is why we invited you here to share your wisdom and your knowledge with our audience on how to live your life by design. So today we're going to be talking about what that means and how you can do it. Correct?
Perfect. Exactly.
Brilliant.
And
now,
there are two things that, one is definitely the topic, which is very exciting and close to me. And the second, the energy and vibe which you give me, because this is how we got connected. And, I am looking forward to this conversation.
It's definitely mutual, Sanjay. Trust me, it's definitely mutual.
Awesome.
Just a quick word to our audience today. Those of you who are watching live, we will have a Q&A after Sanjay has completed his presentation. Please think about what kind of questions you want to ask him. He's here to answer them live. If you're watching the recording and you want to drop a question into the Facebook chat, that works. But you can also contact us by email, hello@catalife.com. My colleague, Erica, will put that address into the chat very shortly. Just to let you know, on all our webinars, as usual, we're only ever going to scratch the surface. The invitation is for Sanjay to introduce his topic to us. And I know, Sanjay, that you're already excited about the prospect of taking us deeper into a course version and launching that course on our platform. Is that right?
Totally. The only challenge I'm facing right now, how I can just put everything there, because I can't stop myself. I want to share, right? And there has to be one limit, but I'm looking forward to make something out of this 1 hour so that people can take something back and then start thinking to live by design.
Brilliant. So we have some learning points that we're going to be addressed today. Pretty much what it is, how you do it, and what to you is the first question. Then, what to you is the biggest single takeaway you would like this audience to have today? What's the one thing you would like them to take away above anything else?
The shift in mindset. That's one thing which I'm looking forward to, because if that decision has been made by today, because we are definitely going to look at where they are right now and where they can get and what it will bring in their life. So if they can take this decision, the shift in mindset, after that, if everything is a smooth journey.
You remind me of a very good film by the late Dr. Wayne Dyer called The Shift. And when you make that shift in mindset, when you make the decision to change, guess what's happened?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. That's what I'm looking forward to.
So we have a few people saying hello. We have a few more people who have just joined the room. Hello, everyone. You're just in time. In a moment, I'll be asking Sanjay the opening question. Then he'll move into his presentation. And in about 40 minutes from now, we'll be starting a question and answer session. So that's the context set. Have your questions ready. Drop them into the chat window down there in the bottom right-hand corner of your screens. Please put a question mark at the end of your question, because what that does is it activates a mechanism in our platform, which means I can publish your question on screen. And you can ask that question at any time. I'll be monitoring the chat. Sanjay, I'll keep an eye on things for you. If you have questions for the audience as well that you want them to answer live, just do that, and I'll keep an eye on the responses. And that gives you the freedom to focus on what you do best. So,
Thank you, Jim.
You're welcome. Now, I usually like to open these things by asking quite a personal question. Not what size feet do you have or what's your favorite breakfast, but more along the lines of, so this topic is quite a big one, it's quite a deep one. And I know your background, you shared it with people before. Why is this topic so important to you, and how did your shift come about?
All right. I would have struggled a lot to answer this a few years back, okay, because when I started this journey, and today where I am sitting right now, I see the clarity that everything what we try, because we all are putting efforts, let's be honest, right? We all have targets, we all have goals, we all have certain understanding and clarity about ourselves. We are putting efforts, but most of them doesn't fall in place. Okay. The only thing which I realized the moment I started living by design, which people will get to know what it means when we say living by design, every effort, even if it's the smallest of effort from me, fall in place. everything is in the context of where I'm going. And then I'm actually able to cover so much, which I was not able to when I was putting so much efforts. Right. So this is something which made me to live in flow. I'm always flowing. Everything's going natural. So if I have to tell, this is what I have realized. This is why I love living by design.
How do you know when you're in flow? What does flow mean?
It's the other opposite of when you feel stuck. You know that feeling, right? You're
Mhm.
thinking and maybe you're not sure where to go next and what to do next, and maybe it is mental or maybe physical, or maybe you are just not getting the way out of it, right? You're just getting sink into one moment. But when you're in flow, it's just one step gives you the next step and then the next step, and you're just flowing, you're just going and cruising, right? So that is what I feel by having the feeling of flow.
Can you describe your feeling? I mean, you said sometimes it's the blocks are sometimes mental or physical, and anyone who knows anything about healing will know about blocks here or blocks here or blocks here. So, what does flow feel like to you? Where do you feel it?
Where we feel it, okay, so if let's say you feel certain things here, some people are like very much logical, they put too much of into analysis and that part of brain, and some people are very much emotional, they feel it here, so they say head and heart as in a very simple word, right? And there are third ones who has like hand, they want to do things, right? So we always categorize people into these head, heart and hand, right? So it depends on what person you are, right? I am the heart person. Heart is my leader, it drives me, so I feel everything here. When
Okay,
deep inside I feel it's light, there's no burden, it's not pulling me down, it's just lifting me up. It's like I want to jump, I want to fly. That is the feeling I call when I say that I am in flow.
excellent. Now, so here's the first question I'm going to drop into the audience. Have a think about this, guys. Where do you feel in your system when you're in flow, like Sanjay has just expressed? It'd be interesting to see what the responses we get. And while those responses are coming in, now I think will be a perfect time, Sanjay, to hand over to you, sir. Looking forward to seeing how you take us through this presentation slides. Just a reminder to everybody that's watching, you will get an email after the event, probably tomorrow morning, um, containing a link to the recording of this webinar and also a copy of the presentation that Sanjay is about to take us through. Evelyn says she feels flow in her heart.
Lovely.
Yeah. So, Sanjay, over to you, sir.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Jim. And as I said, the energy which we feel in the conversation, even if there are so many people around, I can still feel it. And it's even gone to another level. That vibe and energy is going to drive me for the next 1 hour. And as I told you, that the intent, the purpose which I'm carrying right now with me is to give that shift, okay, which people can take back home. And after that, there are a lot of things which are going to happen and everything will be in flow, right? But that first step has to be done today. This is what I'm focusing at. Before I begin, right, if like it's just not a new concept, if I say, right, no, not in terms of practice, but people have heard about this living by design maybe a lot of times, right? Today why I'm very excited, because that has changed my life completely. When I started doing it years back, and today when I know in and out what it is and I'm helping people to live by design, how it happened. So before I begin with this topic, I really want to throw my life story a bit, a glimpse of it, so that you can relate how that shift happened for me. All
Okay.
right. So
Let's put
I'll
the focus back on you.
perfect. Yeah. So now it started. I think bit of it you already know if you have seen my website and other things, but I'll start right from the beginning where I took birth. I was born in a very small village to a couple who has a great warrior spirit, right? Because we were surviving. Even it was not sure I will survive, but they have taken us from that survival phase, me and my two elder brothers, and put us to a stability. In that phase, whatever I could recollect, everything was instructed that do this, do not do this. Why?
Mm.
Because in survival mode, you don't want to put any wrong foot. Okay. So I started my journey like that. And while my life was going well, we were like into stable, we went to a small town. I had this urge, which I could strongly relate to it, feel that I had it since forever, that I didn't want any instructions. I wanted to live my way. Okay. Even that means struggle, even that means whatever coming next, but that feeling was there. I wanted to run away. And people might laugh that 4 times I left my home. Okay. And the first one when I was a 7-year-old boy. And that happened just because I wanted a sweet, which I was not allowed to, because there was some ritual has to be done to God first, and then I'll be getting this.
Hmm.
Many of the people in audience who are Hindu, they will understand the prasad, right? That they will only get after the puja. Now, because of that, I couldn't understand this logic. I just knew that this is my happiness. The sweet is my happiness, and I'm just this far away. I don't take any logic. I can't take this. I want to have this. And then I left my home and I just ran. And I met so many people in that night. That was a scary night. I knew that then. I only remember that I kept telling that I am in search of my sweet, which I can eat anytime. Okay, that was my first time. Then it happened in 13 years when I was 13-year-old, and then when I was in the college, 17-year-old. Then I was like totally decided that I'm gonna live on my own. I left my home, and this is when my best friend asked me that, Sanjay, I know you. You love your family a lot. I don't understand this leaving home thing. Why you keep doing it? And then I said, I do love them a lot. I cry a lot when I leave my home. But you know what? I love myself too. And when I sit in that phase where I am getting instructions and shown this way, and I feel so much caged, I feel so much is coming to me, and there is nothing which feels like me. And then when this sense takes over, this the decision of mine to running away from home makes sense, and I walk out. So I went back after that. There was a lot of drama, which I'll skip from this part, but I stayed with my family. I did exactly what they wanted me to do for next 12 years. I became engineer, which I didn't want to, but I became. And then I got into MNC, a nice job. And then I moved to US, then Europe, then UAE, and they got me to buy house, car, and everything. What you think as a you need to tick in terms of becoming successful. I kept following that. And when I was 29, that was a moment when I realized that, you know what, even after chasing so many things, I still feel the same of that 7-year-old Sanjay who was craving for that sweet. I still not getting my sweet. Where's my happiness? Okay. For other people, maybe the sweet or the happiness is something else, but for me, this is something else. And I have this clarity that why I can't take it is just there. I took the decision that this has to stop. And good part was my family supported. And this time, the fourth time, I left my home with the permission of everyone, where I communicated everything to my wife, to my daughter, and to my family that I'm gonna go and find myself. I need my space. I was out. I was just finding myself. I've been with a lot of great gurus and mentors. I've read a lot of books, got deep into human psychology, where I was getting a lot of answers why thing happens, why we behave the way we behave. Right? I was getting that clarity. And then I got into the spirituality to just understand a bit of higher self, where we are, why we are here, what are we doing, right? So those combined things gave me a lot of insights, which make me super powerful and excited that, you know what, with this clarity, I'm gonna just go one way, which is my way. And of course I'll be decoding a lot of stuff which people think that, if you are living your way, then it's very selfish and you are going to hurt a lot of people. We'll come to that, but I have gone through everything. Now fast forward 5 years today. Okay. I am out of the job and everything. I run my own organization where I love to follow my passion every single day. I love the way I'm taking my day, right from the day till the beginning till the end. My wife left her job and she's following her passion and running a child and welfare organization. And my daughter, she's gone out of school. She's into homeschooling. We just expose, we come with research and give her exposure, and she decides what should be her curriculum and what she wants to learn next. Right. So this journey, right, it pretty much started like everyone. I have spent good time being living life by default. And then I have taken over, making that decision, that shift. And after that, not an easy journey, but when you take those steps, everything aligned. As I told you, putting so much efforts was not giving me results. But when I started living by design, a little much of effort will take you forward. And this has taken me this far today, where I'm standing in front of you, talking to a great gentleman like you and the audience, right? So with that story, I want to get started. Okay. I want to take the presentation in front of people.
Well, that's great testimony as well, Sanjay. So
Yeah.
it demonstrates that this is not just a bunch of theory. You're actually living your life of a life by design.
Exactly, Jim. Exactly. Because everything, every bit of it, whichever is going to come, which is there in the slide, has come, whatever I have done all these years, every single one of them. Right. So with that thought, now let's get started, and I'm going to share the purpose. I love to call it the purpose of the 1 hour which we are going to spend together. What would be the purpose? right? So I'll start with the living by default thing, which we all know that, we are where we are and we are kind of living life by default. So we need to understand why it's happening. Why, even like many people who are realizing it, that, there's some struggle and I don't like it the way it is going. My life is stuck and I don't know, while I have got so many things, but still I'm not feeling that happiness. So why it's happening? I will start with that. And then I will go into this why to live by design, because if you have to take this decision and you have to go through that shift, you need to understand what is coming for you in that world where you are stepping into, right? So I'll throw some benefits why you should be living by design. And then once you're convinced, you like it, that, whatever way the things are going, it's not fine. And living by design makes sense. And I really want to do that. I'll be throwing a lot of things about how you can do that. There are some basic fundamental principles which I'm going to share, which will lay the path and foundation for your living by design choice. Okay. And then once everything is done, it is not just going to be just the top level. We will get into action where we will be talking about steps, what you can take in order to practice living by design. So that's the purpose for the next time, 1 hour, which we have got together, and let's jump straight into it. And one thing I should definitely tell, okay, I should not miss this, that I am engineer at heart. Okay. And I'm very compassionate. So whatever I do in order to help people, there's a lot of engineering comes into picture. I love designing. You throw at me a lot of data. I have been cloud architect in Oracle for 12 years. So this was my job. Okay. So I love designing. So whatever coming to you, right, will be very much about designing. Okay. So don't think me as a spiritual teacher or a psychologist or anything. Think me as a designer. And here we are going to design life. Okay.
From cloud architect to life architect. Hit me.
Yeah, that's the transition. That's the transition I had made. Lovely. Great. So now the first thing we have got here is why we live by default. That's the question most of the people have, that the way life is going and the way the people who are liking it, it's okay. For them, it's working. So this is good. But some of the people who get this answer, that get this question, that, why I'm so stuck, why I'm just not feeling fulfilled, why I'm not feeling liberated, why I'm feeling this caged feeling that, wherever I'm living, I'm not feeling happiness despite all the challenges or despite all the achievements I'm getting. So here's the answer. Why you live by default? Because you are living in ifs and buts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And what does it mean? It's just not that English thing that, ifs and buts. Let me elaborate it for you. What does it mean by living in ifs and buts? So IFS has some meaning to it. Let me decode. The first one is influence. Okay. So the ifs, the first thing is influence. You are either living in the influence of your family, your friends, your circle, your society, everyone around you has a certain way of living life. They are showing you the path. Do this, do that, don't do this. This is good. This is that. They're labeling every damn thing. This is right. This is wrong. This is too early. This is too late. You're still not married, 34 years of. So these kind of things, notions and narratives coming from the people around you, and you are getting influenced. That's the first thing. Now, F stands for fear. You are holding that fear that if I'll not behave the way I'm behaving or others are behaving, I might lose someone. Or you have this fear that I might hurt someone, right? Or you not be accepted or something. So you are living in that fear and you're not expressing yourself freely. Yeah. And then the S stands for shy. And now the shy is again the emotion which is keeping you within. It is not letting you to express, go out, share what you want to share. But because you're shy, you're keeping things within. You're hesitating to share what exactly you feel, right? So these are the ifs. Now let's look on the other side. What are buts?
Alison, by the way, is saying that family influence is real. It's so true.
Oh, yes.
And the shy part could be could also be based in fear of expressing yourself because of the family influence, right?
Totally. This is all contribute to that. We are living by default. We are keeping ourselves from distance. We are not expressing ourselves because we have got the influence that this is the certain way to do things. And then we have the fear of, losing out and, being the odd one out, all that stuff. And then you are shy. You are just keeping it within yourself. You're not expressing. You're not coming out, right? Now, on the other side, the buts. The first is bubble. Now, what is this bubble? The bubble is that space which you have created right from the beginning. You have seen certain things which is acceptable, so you do exactly that. You don't come out of it. It's some certain kind of comfort zone you have created for yourself. This is how I'll behave because this is how everybody is behaving. You're not exploring, you're not stepping out, you're not trying out anything. Okay, that could be the reason you're living by default. And then U is for urge. Now, urge, what is this urge for? The urge is to be acceptable all the time. You don't want to do something which is totally different and nobody accepts that. You have seen this right from the beginning. As a child, you do something, your mom, dad claps and give you kisses. You are like, wow, I have done it something right. But that's their perspective. It can't be your perspective. You still have a realm where you need to explore yourself. But because you have this urge all the time, I do something, I put it on the social media because I have this urge that people should like. That means they're accepting me. I'm going on vacation, they're accepting me. I'm buying something new and they're accepting me. So you're not talking to yourself, not following your heart, or even something comes out of it that, you should do this. Again, your mind automatically tunes to start thinking, will it be acceptable by others? Right? And then you change your mind and then you just go to the urge of being acceptable and then you do that. That is called living by default. And then the T stands for tailback. Now, what is this tailbacking? You are just being part of the queue, copy pasting whatever people are doing it. You see somebody is buying iPhone, you are going through it. You see everybody is becoming engineer, let's go become an engineer. Everybody is following this trend in social media, let's be part of it. Right? So every time, without thinking whether what sense it makes, where it takes you, whether you will like it or not like it, you tend to go back and tail back to these people. And the best part, or the most ironic or sad part, I would say, that most of the people don't even know which queue they are standing in. They just wait forever for their chance to come in. And even when they get their chance at the end of the queue, which may not happen all the time, but even if you get it, at the end you realize, oh, I'm in the wrong queue. But they are giving me something which I don't want. Right? And probably which has happened with me as well, because I tailbacked being the great engineer and then became part of great company, moved places, went locations, got promotions very early in my life, became the youngest cloud architect in my company. And then whatever I've got at the end of the queue, I'm like, oh, that's all? This is what happened because I was tailbacking so many other engineers who have done this path, right? So this is why people live in default. They keep on copying, pasting what others are doing. They're just tailbacking and following other people's queue.
Yeah.
And then the last one, the support. Now, the support is a bit deeper in terms of we people, we feel that we alone can't do things. We need support. We need people around, right? We always do something so that the support system around us, be it your friends or some people in society, your colleagues, or even in social media, your followers, whatever we are doing, we want people to be around us and in order to get that support. Okay, while it's a good thing, I'll put it why it means that you are living by default. Because when you listen to yourself and be what you want to be and come out in public, you will find a different kind of support. Support will be there. It might not be the same guy, same people which you think I'm getting the support. That's why you're changing your behaviors and decisions as per those people. But if let's say you do something else, I'll again cover this in next slide, but this is deeper, that what support we are looking for is coming from only those people. So we do everything as per those people. I want financial support from my parents. So if you are a teenager, you will always do something so that your mom, dad are happy, your siblings are happy, so that you're getting the support. Or if you are in the office, you're doing or changing your behavior, changing your decisions as per your colleagues, so that you will get the support when you need it, right? But yeah, Jim, you want to say something?
Yeah. So it's more like I want to do X, but I don't feel I'm going to get the support of Y.
Exactly.
So could it actually come full circle now and go all the way back to influence?
So what happens in support? In influence, you are you're consciously unaware, right? That things are going in. You're getting influenced. You have seen the kids, they start talking the same way their parents do, and they see the surroundings and exactly the shape up. This is the influence which is unconsciously or consciously going in you, and you are not being aware.
Okay.
Right? And now the support is I am taking the charge and I'm taking the decision, I don't feel strong enough. I'm feeling weak. I need people around me who are gathered and who can, even if I do something which is very shitty, people will just, yay, wonderful, awesome, this guy has done so good. So this kind of support. But if you are very much coming from within, you know that I do this, it will make me happy. I might not get the support from these people, but I'll find from somebody else.
Okay.
Right? So that's the reason we live in default. So that is the ifs and buts. Okay. We all are living in ifs and buts. That's why we are living by default. I just try to decode it in details. I hope it is making sense. And I'll just go to the further slides, which will give more insights to this. Okay.
Yeah. We'll keep going, and if anyone has any questions, they can drop them into the chat. We'll be interested
Perfect.
to know any of you who relates to any of the ifs and buts that have been mentioned. Alison already mentioned family, so please carry on, Sanjay.
Great. And I want people to be part of this conversation. It's not that I have got certain agenda or purpose I'm just going to throw at you. I want it to be a conversation. If you felt that there is something else which is, pulling you down and which is not being covered, you can throw it to us. Or if you relate to it, that these are the ifs and buts I have been, living so far, you can also share that. Right now, with that, now the second thing comes that, okay, the thought comes, okay, fine, I'm living by default. It's kind of, not going well. I want to do something different. So the question comes, why to live by design? What is there? What are the benefits? What's so special about it? Because why you should live by design? Because the life will be fun. And who doesn't like fun, right? Now, the fun is the same fun which we all know, right? The kids love fun, teenagers love fun. Every single person wants to have fun in life. But let me go a little deeper, okay? Let me just tell you what this fun looks like. The F stands for full of purpose, right? Now, the purpose bit, just keep it in mind. I know it's tickling you because there's a lot coming in terms of purpose towards the end of this conversation. Now, I would just throw it at you as the benefit of living by design is you live full of purpose. And what does it mean? That every single time you are aligned with something bigger, you're always going towards a direction which you're very sure of. And when you're going, you're always being fueled. Okay, you're driven by purpose. You're always fueled. You're never out. You're not gonna feel low and then distracted and then doing something and realize, oh no, this is not what I wanted to do. These are all signs of when you don't have a purpose, right? And the benefit of living by design, the first thing is your life will be full of purpose. You'll always be sure where you're going and you will have enough energy to go there. And then comes the unstuck forever. Now we all get stuck. We all like feel that, there's no way forward and I'm not getting the energy to go forward. What should I do? Now, if you have got, if you are living by design, who has decided that what you are doing, your senses will decide. Okay. Where are you going? Your purpose will decide. Okay. What exactly you're going to do? Your goals will decide, which you have set it for yourself. Then where is the stuckness? You're clear because this is what you have designed. Right. And then comes the no more a victim. And why specifically I really want to put it forward, because all the people know it, and I think everybody would agree, right, that whenever we do something goes wrong, it's life, happens. The moment it goes wrong, we have this tendency to blame others. Okay, this is what specifically happens in living by default. We just blame it. Oh my God, because of my father I took this career, because of my mom I just stayed home and didn't explore the world. So many things. I'm not being, you know pinpointing it, but there are so many reasons we know that we blame. But when you are living by design, who is taking the calls? You. Okay, so that part is skipped because you're not going to waste time on blaming yourself. And second part, the moment you own or accept your defeat or your failure, that is the first step to making it better. Right? So when you skip that part, the moment something goes wrong, you take the ownership. You say, okay, fine, it went bad. Okay, fine, I messed it up. Now you take the ownership and you correct it. So there's no more playing a victim, and you always keep doing what you want to do. So this is what I mean by living by design. You're going to have a lot of fun in your life. Yes, Jim.
So in the description for this event, you were talking about how to live a more liberated life. So this sense of not being a victim and you're breaking that drama triangle is that what you mean by liberating or empowering?
Exactly. Thank you so much for connecting with that. Yes. I use very simple terms here. My intent is not to throw very high level spiritual or psychological stuff so that we can digest. But this is what we want. It is all has to go and make sense, because right from the beginning we all wanted to have fun, and then I just put a bit of more knowledge with it. So remember, when you think of having fun in life, the fun will only be feel like fun when you have the purpose why you're doing it. You are not stuck. You're not in that stuck phase where you don't know what you're doing, where are you going. You're in flow, and then you're no more a victim. Okay, the mindset has changed. You're going to own whatever you're doing and you're going to take it through. Okay.
So that's the why.
Sorry.
That's the why.
Exactly. This is how it goes.
Do we get the how? Oh, we get the how now. Excellent.
Yes, of course. Now that you know that, okay, yeah, I've been living by default. I realized it. It looks very good to live by design. Now tell me how, right? That naturally comes. I'll tell you by simple formula or simple thing you need to tell yourself how to live by design, by saying yes to life. Saying yes to life, that you want to live. You are not here to just mere breathe, or you're not here to just survive. You're here to live. Now, what do I mean by this saying yes to life? The first one, now these are the basic fundamental principles of living by design. If you can't have that, you can't live by design. As simple as that. Okay. So with that weightage on these thoughts, I'm throwing first one is you are your number one priority. What does it mean? Every single time you know what you want, okay, but because of so many influence, fear on whatever ifs and buts, and then a lot of things going on, it's messy, and then you just keep off tend to push yourself, down the list, and then you just ignore yourself. It's whenever you're doing it, you're living somebody else's life. You're making a connection by being influenced by some of your friend. That person is dating your friend, not you. Right? It's as simple as that. Sorry for being blunt, but this is how it is. If you're not keep making yourself a priority, if you're not listening to what you want to do and just keep getting influenced and trying to be something else, it's not going anywhere. Your success will not be the success for you, for somebody else. Your relationship will be for somebody else, not for you. Right? This is how it is. So keep this thing very clear, that you are your number one priority as the first fundamental principle. And the second one, now, this is a very interesting one. I love this because I spend most of my time here. This escape the traps. Now, the moment we all know that there's something coming in, that, what, I want a vacation, or I should change my job, or I think this relationship is not working. I should, get into something else. These things comes. And if, let's say, you have made yourself number one priority, you heard yourself and you obliged and you said, all right, I'm calling it the end to this relationship, to this career, and that I'm going to do what I love to do. The traps will find you. The traps, like the first one, people will say, oh, you are being selfish. Okay, the first one. Let me just quickly tell you how to handle this. I'll just say a few. If people say that you are being selfish, that tell them and tell yourself first that having myself as number one priority, or living by design as I want, is not about just living for myself. It's just that I keep myself priority and listen to it, but I live for everyone. Right? Being selfish is when you just live for yourself. Living by design is not being selfish. It's not just living for yourself. It's living by yourself. You know what you want and you exactly do that. And that means even I want to love my family, my wife, and do a lot of stuff for people, everyone. So how come it is selfish, right? The first trap, get over it with it. The second is when people will say, you're being rebellious. That's a funny one. I got so much since childhood. Whenever I used to do a lot of thing which was a rebel, people will say you are being rebellious, and I am like, so what? Those rebels who got us freedom, the freedom fighters who got us freedom, they are still celebrated every day, right? Even they are gone like hundreds of years of back, but still they're celebrated. Then how come this being rebellious is bad? If you're being rebel for a good cause, you will be celebrated. This is what I keep telling myself. So then come out of this trap. There are so many other traps. I love to go in detail, but then I don't have the time to. But you got the idea. There will be some traps. You need to find a way to come out of it. All right. Now, this is the escaping the traps. Once you do that, the big chunk of is done. Then comes the sensey life. Okay. And I love this, and I'll make it very simple. Why I call it sensey life? Because senses are 5 senses. Okay. The sight and the hearing and the touch and smell and taste, all these things are like your GPS. They tell you what you want. You like to taste something, you like the taste, you want to taste it more and more. They tell you. Okay, you love to see this greenery, you want to be in the greener places more and more. You love the touch of this person. You want to be with that person more and more. So these senses are always telling you the way forward. And how to do that, while we all our senses, there's no senses malfunctioning happening with everyone. I know we all our senses are working just fine. We are not getting the direction out of it. We are not obliging it. So I tell people three things: the sense it, intense it, and then commence it.
Sense
The
it, intense it, commence it.
commence it. So sense it, you are sensing, you're getting this data all the time. You're seeing something, hearing something, touching, feeling everything. Now, the moment you sense it, intense it, being mindful of what you are feeling in that moment. You like to the sound of it, you like the touch of it, you like to see it. All these things, be more mindful and get the most out of it. The more you're mindful to that, the more you're connected to that, then the last thing will be automatically done, which is commence it. Take action, go there and implement. Do exactly that, which you want to do. I tell people that sometimes they say that how come you are able to do that? Why? Because I'm very much sensitive. I have always been. I never bog down to, and I never feel ashamed at what I'm feeling. I feel a lot. And then when my senses are telling me that I want to do this, I intense it. The moment I intense it, you know it, then the emotions take over. Your logical brain and rational brain goes out of the park, right? And then what happens? It does exactly what you want to do, right? So when you intense it, you can learn this art of mindfulness, and then you can intensify it. The moment you will intense it, I don't have to say it, you will commence it, you will take action, you will do exactly what your senses are telling you to do. And this is how you live by design. These are the fundamental principles. If you can do this, then you are ready for the journey, which I'm going to share with you next. Okay,
Excellent.
so if I can see some hands going, or if Jim, you can take this, people, if they are still with me till this point, that they believe in living by design, they know these are the fundamental principles and they are ready for it, then the next is the practical action steps which are waiting for them.
Exactly. Let us know what you're thinking so far. Alison says Sanjay is a boss. I love it. Kemoy
Thank you
is
so
loving
much.
it. Excellent.
Thank you
I'm
so much.
loving
And
it. Keep this S, this Sensi is one of your three S's, yes?
no, yeah. For that sensei, not sense. Yeah,
Okay.
you will talk about that. But
Currently.
I tell people that sensey life is sexy life. So all the people who feel the same way, let's jump into it. The main part. And I'm going to provoke a lot of action. Okay. Hearing is good. Feeling is good. And getting to know a lot of new things is good. But then if it will not be implemented into some action, it will all pass.
Only
Okay.
doing gets it done.
Exactly. Lovely. So with this focus, I'm going to just throw at you what all things are coming next. Now, there are prerequisites of living by design. Okay. The first one is who you are. Be very sure who you are. And when I mean by that, you really are, there are a lot of things going on. Again, I'll not go in detail, but you get the idea, that you get to know when about your core values, your beliefs, your personality, your stimulus force, which is your basically the interest, the likes and dislikes, your roles in life. You're always having so many people and you certain roles and the priorities assigned to it, and then the strength and weaknesses. Based on that, you get a lot of opportunities and threats in your life. So inner world is something which is known to you. You mute the outside world, go inside, you will get to know everything about your value, belief, personality, and everything. You tune in with outer world, and then you get your senses working. You will get your stimulus force telling you that what you like and not like, and then you will get to know that what roles you are playing, the father, son, brother, friend, lover, all that thing. And then you know your strengths and weaknesses when you apply yourself in front of anybody, right? The external world. I'm not going in detail, but you get the idea. This knowing yourself is a deeper thing. Don't think that I know my name, my company, my profession, and that's all, right? So this is the first thing.
I
Yes,
like
Jim.
how your beliefs are straddled across the inner and the outer world.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for noticing it, Jim. Thank you. The intentionally, the belief is there because the
Yeah.
belief is half is what I feel about me. And then the half is being influenced by what others think about me. Doesn't matter how much you just try to pull it inside your inner world, but then it is exposed. The moment people will start giving you feedbacks and then the way they think about you, your beliefs will change a bit, right? So that's why it is intentionally put in between. Thank you so much for noticing that. Now, the next prerequisite, which is after knowing who you really are, what state you are in. What state you are in means that, okay, this is life. It's just not about your age. You're married or you're working or you're happy, not happy, how healthy you are. There's so many things which tells you what state you are in. Okay, just to throw a bit of light, you must have heard about Wheel of Life. There are so many Wheel of Life in there. I believe in these five categories: the well-being, your relationships, your work, your growth, your energy, which is again money, which is the form of energy, and your spiritual, which is related to your purpose. These are the five bigger categories of your life, and then inside there are like subcategories. Okay, and then if you go and check in your Wheel of Life and be very mindful and conscious about what exactly you're doing in all of these categories, where you are, whether you're doing good or bad or whatever, you know it, right? Tune into it and you'll get to know what exact state you are in. That is the second prerequisite. And
It,
then comes,
it's actually quite.
yes,
It's actually we're going to go back. It's actually
yep.
quite congruent with the categorizations of the courses that we have in Kata Life.
That's what I told you when I said that I believe in holistic and I love the way Kettle Life has designed everything. We are very much aligned. Right from the day one, I felt, we are
Mm,
talking the same language. We are in the same mission. And I think that's why we are here and we connect in that vibe.
excellent. Carry on.
Great.
Really
And
good.
then the third prerequisite is, where are you going? Now that you know that, oh, this is what I am, okay, this is what stage of life I am in. The second question, the obvious question comes, where are you going? You need to go deep in again, tune into yourself, and then you can use the same Wheel of Life because you have rated yourself in all those categories. That should tell you. Just a simple advice, let's say if you are like feeling that I'm not healthy and my physical health is just one or two, the obvious next step is, if you're not going to make it to three or four, you're not going to survive, right? So take those medicines, do workouts, go out, eat healthy, all that stuff. And in the relationship as well, right? If you are struggling in relationship, you are having so much money, you're successful, a lot of things, but you know what, you feel alone, you're lonely, you feel that love, you crave for that love. That means this is your next step. You need to address that, right? So this will tell you the next step. And the idea is, as I told you, that if you're living by design, you are not listening to anybody, you're listening, you're tuned to yourself. The outside noise is already being shut off by following those principles. You would know exactly what your next step is. Now that
Brilliant.
three prerequisites, if you have followed that, now the best part is going to come now. Okay, now the moment you follow the basic principles and then you follow these prerequisites, who you are, what state you are in, where are you going, you get to know your next step. And now what is this next step? Listen me very, very carefully, because this is going to change a lot of things, which it changed for me. The next step is going to, all these four things will give you the context of life. Do I need to tell you how important is context in our life? Context is so important. If I have to just give a simple example, maybe like, okay, if I tell you that somebody, okay, this person has killed somebody, you will see him as a murderer and you will feel that, you'll have all the bad feelings about this guy. But what about I give you that context that, he was saving his life and his loved one's life, his family's life? Then your perception will drastically change from the other extreme to other extreme, right? This is what a context does. So simple idea or a statement or anything which you say without context doesn't make sense. So
Okay.
how can you live a life without a context, right? So now, did I tell you, Jim, that in the beginning that my least efforts started giving me more and more results, which was not
Mhm.
happening before? Because let's say if I thought, going in my career, I need to work on my this skill, I invested in that skill, I spent hours and hours doing all that stuff, but at the end that was not aligned to my purpose. That is not what I wanted. So whatever I'll do, it is a very cumbersome effort. I'm just doing and doing and everything is not aligned. I'm putting efforts and nothing is happening because there's no context of that stuff which I'm doing, where it fits in the whole life, where it fits in. You have a lot of things to do. Tomorrow you can probably tell Sanjay, you have to do this. I would first take in and I'll put it in the context of my life. Oh, yes, it helps me. I'll do that. If it doesn't fit in my context or maybe later part of my life, I'll say next time. It gives you that clarity.
That's interesting because Evelyn posted earlier. She says she can relate very well to how ifs and buts hold us back and keep us in our obtained beliefs that do not support us and our development. So, what you're talking about now, what I'm
Yeah.
hearing, is
Yeah.
taking action that supports your growth and development.
Totally. As
Okay.
I said, because you will always be growing, you'll always be having an action plan in your hand, you'll always be having a goal in your hand. But if everything is not aligned, and if I just tell you this is a brilliant course given by the best trainer, just imagine, and you are like, wow, it is coming from the best trainer at the best price, this is the best offer, let me do it. What will happen? again, there's no context. You're just doing it, learning it, and then nothing will happen. You are not making any progress. And this is why, and I think so many people would relate to it, so much effort we put in order to develop in our career, in our relationships, in our own personal self, and so many things, but it's not falling in place
So the
because
next
it is
10
all.
minutes, the
Yeah,
next 10 minutes could change some lives.
exactly.
Do it.
If you have understood, I am just taking you all from living by default, understand why you are there, convincing you that where you should be by living by design, and then what it takes. Yeah, I got the agreement that you know what, I can do that. These are the fundamental principles. And then step by step, the prerequisites, you got that. Now, where we are, if you can get the context of life. Now, let me get to the next slide. There will be like a huge surprise coming in here, the context of life. Now, this you understood. The moment I know where exactly I want to go, I know my next step. Let's say if I have to break my goal, like I have to be healthy, my next step would be to run this much or eat healthy or something. It's a very small step, right? Now,
Yeah.
what it is doing is you're putting all your focus to that next step. Everything you do, wherever you go, if I'm saying yes to my friend for a party, I am having the context that, you know what, I'm into healthy thing. So I probably have to say no, right? If I'm not able to say no, probably I need to learn how to say no. So I know what course to enroll to, right? How to develop and grow,
Yeah.
because everything is falling in place, right? And now the whole focus, when you put on your next step, you achieve that. The possibility of achieving that next step becomes more. You making distance. Then you going to the next step. It's about when you reach the next step, you get the next step in front of you, right?
Hmm.
You are going there. Let's say it's a foggy, nice winter evening and you're going and it's a fog. You just get to see the 10 meter. You
Yeah.
focus only in 10 meter. Just focus hard on that 10 meter. And then once you reach there, you'll get to see another 10 meter and then another and then another, and you will eventually be in your destination. This is what happens in next step. Your context is your next step. Your focus is your next step. And then you go to the next step, you get the next step, and then the next step and the next step, and then you get to know your purpose of life.
Okay.
And this is going to be very, very tough to digest, because this is something I didn't even read. I realized it because when I got through this whole purpose thing, because everybody has been talking about purpose, and I realized it to an extent that, you know what, it is making me feel sick. There's so much people talking about being, having purpose. They're throwing so much material to digest. So much I've learned already, but still, where's the purpose?
Well,
How to get this purpose?
you've broken it down quite nicely.
I'll come to that because it might not fit in, because it didn't fit to me at once, Jim. Because when I realized that this is the purpose of life, and now I've made it very simplistic, but I'm just talking about the journey, years of
Mm.
journey. I put it in one slide. I just focused on doing my next step and next step and next step. And the day, everything what they have been teaching me, the spiritual people and the psychology people, that this is what purpose of life, it all started making sense on one fine day. It just came in and I was like surprised. Am I living my life full of purpose? This is my purpose. I was jumping. I was like so joyful. But how it make me reach there? By just focusing on next step, which was very small and easy steps, which I've broken down into, which has total my control. I knew what has to be done because I designed it. I wanted to do that and I knew where it will take me. And when I followed this path, it just took me to my purpose of life. And now the question would be, is it that simple? This is where I want to throw this slide. I think it's gonna be a bit heavy. I don't know how much time would allow me to do, but you will get the idea, the jinx of it. And probably we can, if we get a chance to anytime talk about it deeper, then every step has a lot of things to share.
Well,
Okay.
we want to have some Q&A at the end, so this is probably the bit that's going to provoke some questions in people.
Definitely. This is the main slide, which the previous one was the build up. You can say that. Now that you have come this far, if you are with me, then it is going to make sense. Now, the question is this: just by following the next steps, can I reach my purpose of life? If this question is troubling you, let me answer it for you in two ways. There's one, because people are different, they understand it differently. There's one is outer world perspective, which is this, the stage of life, and there's another one which is about your inner world. Okay, so let me start with the quickly with the state of life. All have heard about that survival, and then what comes the next? The stability, and then comes the success. Right now, if I'm putting you in that phase, if you're that person who are into survival, That means you are hungry, or you are starving, and you think you probably will die if you'll not get the food. Now, what is the next step in your mind? It's obvious, right? You need that bread, you need that something to eat, right? If somebody walks to you and say, you know what, you need to find your purpose of life, that will solve it. How you'll feel? You'll feel outraged, you'll feel disgusting, you might want to hit that person, right? This is what happens. At that time, you just need to focus on small thing which is there in front of you. The focus will be to just get the food. Once you get the food, what is the next thing comes to mind? I want a shelter to live in, I want good clothes, warm clothes, right? This is going towards stability. Now, in that, these are all necessities. So if you are in that phase of stability, the necessities will tell you what is your next step. Get a good clothes, get a shelter on, get this thing, get that thing, all the necessities which will help you to be in that stable state. So that is your next step which you achieve. Now, once you go past that, what happens the next? That's success. Now that everything is stable, everything is good, now what is your focus? That you are setting milestone for yourself, that you know what, I want to have a 6-figure salary, I want to have a nice partner, I want to go on vacation, I want to see the world. All that thing comes into the success phase when your survival and stability is taken care of. Without that, if somebody will tell you, you will kick them. Right? So once you are into success, you are talking about that milestone. So whatever is the milestone, that is your next step. And then when you keep going and achieving all the success, one day, and I wish it happens with every one of you, one day the success will stop giving the stimulus which you are getting. You are like winning your best employee award, the relationship, you got the great partner, and you won money and the car and the bungalow, mansion, everything you got. That has been done. Now it's not giving the stimulus anymore. Why I'm telling you that you should know, I wish that you all will go to that phase, because once you go past that, the stage comes of significance, where you are not getting stimulus by doing something for you. You want to do it for others.
Okay.
Right? You get connected with the world and you want to give it back. You want to contribute back. You want to do something significant so that people will remember you. There's so many people who are billionaires, but I did something for a cause to this world and people will remember me for that. So this kind of thought, if you have in mind, then you are in significance. And then in this stage, for sure, why you are in this phase, why you are not in success, because you got a purpose in life. While doing exactly every single time, you would realize what in this journey, you will realize what all things you have done to be in that next step. You are successful, and then you want to give it back with the purpose. Okay, I'm just putting this in the perspective of, because people know about survival to significance, I'm putting the perspective in the purpose. Don't go for purpose until you are in the success phase, please. And then you think about purpose. Till that point, only think about the next step. And then the other one, the inner world, the people who feel more. Okay, everybody feels, everybody has senses. Now this is called interaction journey. Everything starts from senses. They are exploring things. Okay, it all starts with curiosity. You are curious. Let's say if there is a sweet in front of you, your senses will tell you, I want to taste it. Okay, and you get this, right? You have this curiosity to get a taste of it. And then what happens once you taste it? Your stimulus, they are the loyal friends, they will tell you, right, that whether you like it or not like it. If you don't like it, you will never go near to that. But if you like it, that becomes your interest. And interest has a simple formula. If you like doing it, you want to do it more and more,
Mm-hmm.
right? And what happens if it becomes your interest? You keep doing it again and again and again and again. And they say, right, wherever you focus, it grows. So if you are focusing at one thing, you become better at it. You become natural at it. You love doing it non-stop. And then your interest, you might be interested in so many things, but you will become passionate about few things. And this is where the fun comes, when I say the magic happens. When the passion meets compassion, it becomes your purpose of life. What is compassion? Compassion is empathy in action, when you feel about others. So is, let's say my life has always been like this, that I've been curious, I wanted to live by design, I wanted to listen to myself, I have got so much interest, I wanted to play cricket, I wanted to play this violin, and then I wanted to do a lot of stuff. And then I started exploring everything and realized my stimulus for some things which didn't go away was my helping people to design their life. I was passionate about it. I did in my corporate. I was designing their IT solutions. I loved it. That became my passion. Every day, you give me the data, you give me the scenarios, I'll make the pattern out of it, I'll give you the design, and you just implement it. And then it became my passion. And then one day I realized, like the way I'm struggling, I struggle all my life. There are so many people who are struggling, living life by default. And the day it made me feel my compassion meets with passion, gave me the purpose of life. This is what I want to do in life.
I love the way you've broken this down from next step to purpose, and you've not said you can go straight from next step to purpose. I love the fact that there's stages here for us to,
Yeah.
like a checklist.
Please don't jump into the purpose straight away. Just telling people,
No,
don't do that. Don't take burden. I just want to unburden yourself and everyone. Don't go jump into it. It will come eventually. Okay. Focus on your next step, broken down by who you are, where state you are, and where you want to go. You will know exactly that tiny little step. Put all your focus, go to the next step, then you'll get the next, and eventually you will find the purpose. And when the best part, I want to end it with this, Jim, that when you reach your purpose of life and then you look back, the best part is you will see that I've always been following the path of my purpose. I was never distracted.
brilliant.
So you don't have to stop thinking, where is my purpose? You need to walk, go to the next step, and eventually you'll find every whole life will start making sense to you. That's it.
Do the puja before you have the sweet.
Exactly. How can I forget the sweet? This is all, it started from there. This is my sweet. You all know what is the sweet you all want to. Your taste buds are telling you, right? You're telling you, eat that, eat that. This is your happiness. Just chase that and you will be there.
Excellent. And you have a quick cycle to take us through as well on the next slide.
Yes, I want to take some questions before that, and then I'll just end it up with the roadmap, how the step-by-step thing which takes you there. Okay,
So
but I want to stop it, and then I want to take questions, and then we'll go to the next.
So before we hit the roadmap, let's do some quick questions. Does anybody have any questions to raise to Sanjay right now? Now is the time to do it. People are typing already. Just to let you know, Sanjay, a couple of comments coming in.
Yep.
Evelyn saying that it's interesting how getting more aligned with herself, she notices more blind spots or beliefs that otherwise have been challenging to notice or question them adequately. So this sounds like it's stripping away the layers. And getting clearer milestones gets you closer to purpose. And of course, it works the other way around as well. Alison says small steps at a time. That's right. There's an old saying, isn't there? It's only one way to eat an elephant. I'm sorry, Evelyn's a vegan, but one way to eat an elephant, one mouthful at a time. It's a metaphor. And Alison saying, Sanjay was so thorough, I'm at a loss for questions. Now, it doesn't get much higher praise than that, Sanjay.
Thank you so much. That's why I just said, thank you, Alison. That's wonderful. And this is what I intended to. That's why I'm feeling happy. It's not that I don't want to take questions. I love to take questions. But then my intent is to just make it so thorough and simple so that anybody can grasp it. Because intent is to make that difference, not to show that how much I know, right? So,
while we're waiting for questions to come in, can you tell us more about this SSS model?
Oh, yes. This is something very close to me. And this is the framework which I have designed called Sss Framework. And what it does, the first S stands for sense. Second is science. And the third is spirit.
Sense, science, and spirit.
Spirit. And what it means. Okay. Now I'll tell you in a very holistic view, and then I'll come to the bottom, start from the beginning, that everything which is happening in the world, okay, either if you want to know about it, why it's happening and how to do it, what to do it, all your why questions, right? Why's, how's, what's, and everything. Science will do the job by telling you why it's happening, because science is something which is proven, right? They know the phenomena. And then the science will tell you, like if you want to know about the brain, I read psychology and I got all the answers that why we are behaving the way we are behaving, right? So science gave me the answer, but that was not complete. If I just learn the psychology, how the brain works, that doesn't make my life change. And then I just thought, what is missing? Then I went to the spiritual path where everybody was telling that go higher, lift yourself up, the purpose, the spirit, the energy, right? You can't define it. It's just coming from different sources where you explore. Spiritual thing has a different way of learning things, right? Then I got into spirituality, and then I realized that spiritual thing is not giving me the complete answer. I get lost because there's so many things I'm still not connected. It's the journey, right? If you agree with me, Jim, that if you are learning about psychology or the science, you're still there. You're always there in the journey. You can never be 10 out of 10. And same with the spiritual journey. The spirit, the energy, everything about it is so mystical. Even though so many people have thrown so much at you, you will still not be able to get everything. So you're still in the journey. So with that half knowledge, let's say you are at 3 or 4 or whatever, then whatever you're trying to make sense of it, it is that sense is not complete. but let me just scrap that. Science is good. This is telling the fact which is proven. Spirit is good because the energy has a big role to play. The spirit, the spiritual, the purpose of life, all that thing is making a lot of sense. But then sense, our senses, the thing I'm seeing it, if I'm liking it, this is the ultimate truth. If I'm tasting it, if it is sweet to me, it is sweet to me. It is the ultimate truth, right? If I'm liking being with you, Jim, I feel that brotherhood. Let's be honest with it. This is what senses can do. And that's why I came with the sense, so that even if you know nothing about science, you're zero with the psychology and everything, you know nothing about spirituality, don't stress. They have a way to uplift your life, but that's not the proven way as well. So even if you can tune into your senses, you get to know what is right for you and just follow that. So sense, spirit, and the science. This is how this SSS framework came in.
So this framework, actually, I'm really looking forward to seeing how you implement that and break it down using real life.
Everything I do is because is just the concept, the framework, everything is aligned with this triple S.
So look out for his course, people, coming up. We're hoping to release that next month. So we're working together on the framework now. He's got the groundwork for it. He's got the experience, and we're going to be breaking it down. Now, let's do a quick, very quick, maybe real life example, because we have a couple of questions in. Evelyn asks, what would you suggest to do next if there are several areas where I feel that passion and compassion are meeting? And the second part of the question, how to find the next best reasonable step to choose one or other area of interest, how to let the other one go or put to a waiting list in a way. So this comes back to where passion and compassion meet, and how do you make your choices? Is this an SSS thing?
Okay, so SSS is like the underlying foundation or like the encompassing thing, right? It's always going to be there, right? But to give the clarity to Evelyn, okay, this happens. This is the reality. And I have two ways of answering it, but I'll skip the technical part, but I'll just tell you, compartmentalize. The brain works. It's just not, it takes only one thing at a time. It takes multiple things at a time. Right now, when I said the passion, I had the passion to play violin, I had the passion to play cricket, I was good at both of the things, and then there are some other things where I wanted to talk. I was a good speaker, so I loved those things. But then I was just not doing one thing whole day. I have got 24 hours. I can split it. I can just take my journey, and if I have a goal attached to my cricket, attached to my violin, attached to my public speaking, right? And then I compartmentalized, dedicated the time, and who knows the answer the best? We know it because we have the senses telling that I am kind of liking the cricket more. That's why I left the violin. I was telling Jim that I stopped playing it when I was a kid. I used to play it. But why? Because I loved cricket more. I took that journey. So that became more closure. And then at the end, the speaking thing came to the fore. And then I realized that, you know what? This should get my biggest effort because this is where I'm getting the most stimulus from, right? And your senses will tell you from where it is coming from. So just compartmentalize. You just can have many. It's normal. It's okay. But compartmentalize, give something to everything, and then it will lead you.
Brilliant. So that's a great answer. And if we had another 2.5, 3, 4, 5 hours,
days, months, I can still go on. Trust me, Jim. I've been doing it and I love giving it. And the best part is when the circle gets completed. Can we go to the roadmap and tell when the circle gets completed, what happens?
Absolutely. And while I go there, before you go today, do you have your bow with you? Do you have your bow? Can you give us a tune before we go?
Oh my God. For that, I need to lift and, I didn't think of that. But next time, definitely. Or maybe in one of the courses somewhere.
Okay, here we go.
Yep.
That's the way to show.
Right. Now, this is the roadmap or the journey which you will be taking, starting from where you are, which is your first one, living life by default, where you are. Okay. And you might be in the journey already. And I need to make it very clear. It's never about 100% living by design or 100% living by default. It's not black or white. It's a gray. Some of the things you are living by design already. Okay. And most of the things or some of the things you are living by default. So this is how it goes, right? So we start from where you are. And then we take the step to the first one. We get rid of all these ifs and buts. Enough of it. Let's not live in there. Okay.
Alison's already there. She's getting rid of her ifs and buts.
Exactly. So there's a lot of ifs and buts. We get deep into it. And then when one by one, we just need to come out of it. We need to put it into conscious. As I told you, these are all subconsciously there. We are not aware. right? So then we'll be consciously taking one by one all of these, and then we'll come out of it. Once you do that, then we go to the second step. This is your level 2, and where we say yes to life. This is where the shift happens, has to happen, because this step will definitely take you to say yes to life. Okay, and that goes a bit deeper, because as we are going further, we are going deeper, and then understanding what you are, what kind of person you are, depends on what level you are in. Then we just one by one change things, and then we make yourself to say yes to life. That mindset has to change in level 2, and then we go to the third one, where we are working on knowing who you are. In and out, as I told you, the inner world, outer world, and all those things, they're like day by day, and then small pieces by pieces, you get to know each and everything about you, the values, the system, the personality, interest, everything you get to know from this. And even you get to know your interest and passions and everything. Some
Yeah.
things we know that this is our passion, but they are not. Let me tell you very honestly. And some of the things we feel that I'm interested to do it, but subconsciously it is coming from the influence which you don't know, right? So I might, kind of remove a lot of things from your list and give you some new, but you will get the clarity about yourself at the end of level 3, right? And the next one is about knowing your current state. This is very important. This is, you need to be honest and open and put yourself in that shoe, that wheel of life which I've shown you, the 5 categories and the 10 categories, subcategories. Every single of them has a lot of meaning to it. If you go one by one deep into it, you'll understand and assess where your life stands, right? That assessment has to be done. That will be done in level 4, and you'll know your current state. And then moving to level 5 is designing your desired state. This is as important as anything in this world, because this is gonna set the context of life. This is the prerequisite of that. So you need to be very sure. And if I can tell, most people falter because they are not tuning them to themselves, and they're not muting the outer world, and they listen to everyone, and they say, this is what I want a Mercedes, I want this, I want to live in Paris. Oh no, that's not what you want. So we go deeper and make you believe and feel what exactly you want, and take you to the desired state. And then the level 6 is finding context of life. This is where we break it down. Whatever you decide, these are my desired state in health and relationship, career, money, everything. Then we break it down to your next step. Okay, the moment you have the next step, and then there are certain principles or certain ways of getting into the context of life, because it is very easy to miss it, distract it. The moment something comes in, it becomes your priority. How to accommodate that? While you're accommodating that, you give it away with something which is very much priority to you, right? So this finding context of life is just not finding context, finding the next step. Second thing, how to stick to that next step, how to stick to that context of life while you're doing it. And then if you can do that, then welcome to the level 7, where you are actually living the purpose of life. This is where I want you to be, because this is where the things flows. Everything is flowing naturally, coming to you. There's no hurdle, there's no burden on you. You're feeling light, and you're just moving forward.
Where are you, Sanjay? Level 8?
I wish to. I wish to. Because if you can say that 0 becomes 8. That question came to me, and yeah, good that you said 8, because the question come to me, why it is connected? Am I, after living my purposeful life, am I going to live by default? Why it is so connected? And there is a thought behind it. And I think you would know, Nai, that's why you are smiling, that once you start living your life with purpose and you keep living it, it becomes your default setting.
Yeah.
You are actually, when living by default and living by design, it becomes the same thing, because the default is this.
But it's
You.
conscious default.
Exactly.
When you get there. So
Exactly.
let's take a practical example. So you've made the choice to make the change. You've identified the blind spots. You've stripped out the ifs and buts. You've said yes to where you want to go. You've looked into your core beliefs, so your strengths, your weaknesses, your interaction with the outer world, and how your inner world aligns with that. And then you get to know your current state. So we're at 4. And then you get to 5, design your desired state. And this is where I think Evelyn's comment comes into play. She says, thank you. So I don't necessarily need to choose only one, but feel into how these areas are aligned over time, and how much in depth to go is the calling. That's where you identify your context, and that's when you live your purpose. So Evelyn's at level 5, yes? Evelyn's at level 5?
You're asking me, okay, okay. So the answer is a bit tricky, and I don't want to complicate a bit, but I'll tell you. For that context, which Evelyn said, she's on 5.
Yeah,
But in life, we are walking so many journeys, so you'll get the hint what I'm talking about, right? Every part of your life, every different goal, you have multiple goals, multiple roles attached to it, and then multiple priorities, multiple journeys, and based on the journey, you are in different levels.
excellent. Well, you've inspired me to rewatch this video and decide what level I'm at because I've been focusing on you and
Okay.
focusing on them. I haven't focused on myself. I haven't put myself first yet. So when I get the space to put myself as number one priority, I'm going to have a a look into this and see what level.
Great, 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 great.
And I'm also
Definitely do that,
really
and
looking forward
encourage others
to.
to as well, because they will be getting these PPT as well. So whenever, if I have been rushed, I'm sorry. My intent is only to give you as much I can, right? So when you get time, you sit nicely. You have these recordings. You have the material with you. Go deep. Get a bit of conscious thoughts about whatever I said. Try to recollect what I said, and then you will find your way.
Press pause, rewind, go over it again, listen to what he said, and then you can get even more clarity. But Sanjay, to give even more clarity and even more depth, I know that you can go into hours worth of this. It's not just monologue, death by PowerPoint. I know you want to bring practical elements into it. We really are looking forward to working with you on that and bringing this material to life and then helping others do what you have done and reach level 8.
I would love to, because this is where the fun begins. It sounds very good when I talk about it, but it's even more fun when we get our hands to do it practically, step
Will
by
you,
step.
will you be my coach for this?
100%. I'm always there. As a
Help me.
friend, I'm always around you. I can wear the hat of the coach and we can get going with it. Right.
Let's
So
do that.
always there.
So everyone else who's watching this, and if you're watching the recording, welcome. But all those who stayed with us, thank you so much. I know we ran over. We were only about 5 or 6 minutes over. That's okay. But thank you for sticking with it. Thank you, Evelyn, for your questions. Thank you, Alison, for your observations. Everybody else, thank you for being here. But the biggest thanks has to go to Sanjay for bringing this material to the world. And it's a privilege to be working with you. Thank you so much for this. I think some people want to leave some final comments, and I'll come to that. As ever, these webinars, I'm just the host. You're the expert. Leave us with your final piece of wisdom. What's the biggest single piece of advice you would give people watching today? How to identify your life's purpose?
Okay. So one thing which comes to my mind, and this is something which I have been realized a bit late, and I keep, like, we know this life coaching techniques and we want to make peace with whatever we did in the past. But there's one thing which I struggle the most to make peace with it, because I realized this particular thing, which I'm going to share, I realized it very late. Okay. So the one thing is that the only one person who's always gonna stick with you, love you no matter what, listen to you no matter what, they will not run away. They will take all your tantrums. Even if you throw at something at them and you say whatever bullshit you want to say to them, they will not leave you. That person is you. Okay, that person is you, and that person has to be taken care a lot better than what we all are doing. Okay. And the second thing, the perspective, that only thing you can control in this whole world is you. Anything beyond that is not in your control. Doesn't matter if you're living in this illusion that I want to change this and that, my spouse, my kids, my boss, and everyone, but not going to happen. Only thing which is in your control is you. So where your focus should be, that loving person is always there for you. They want to listen to you, they want to sit with you. And when I realized that, Jim, I changed everything. Trust me, all the hidden treasure, all the directions, everything. Even like you said, okay, can you coach me? Even if I'll be the coach with you, you will be the one who is taking the charge. I'm just facilitating it. I'm just putting you to meet. It's like, hey, Jim, meet Jim. Like this, right? You are interacting with yourself, and then you get to know a lot of wealth, wisdom coming out of you, the lot of directions, your clarity, and then you live life according to that. So the fundamental thing of living by design is this, and this I really wanted to tell people across. We are still not valuing that person enough. Okay, that person is ourselves. Okay, meet yourself, spend more time, okay, be more conscious, be more mindful, have some more lovely moments, right? You have heard a lot about self-love, maybe, right? Maybe in the same context. So then start loving yourself, because that is the person who's going to stay with you forever.
Brilliant. I couldn't have said that better myself. Thank you so much. Those are words that we should definitely listen to and live by. So that is the brilliant way to end it. Sanjay Shukla, thank you so much. Your expertise and your wisdom is a gift to the planet, to the human race. We look forward to having more work with you on the Catalyze platform. You can follow us, everybody, on our social media links there in the chat. Eric has dropped them in. Happy to communicate. Drop your comments, your thoughts, your reflections, your questions, your feedback. Let us know what you want to see. And yes, as Erica says, thank you everyone for joining us today. Sanjay, thank you for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you the next time. Until then,
Definitely.
everybody, stay safe, stay sane, stay healthy. Sanjay, namaste.
Namaste. Thanks a lot, Jim. Thank you everyone to be here.
Okay, and we'll see you all soon.